Kings, welcome back to Passport Kings. Today, we're checking for the Habeshas. Engage!
PassportKings.com. Welcome aboard, abroad.
I made a video recently about beautiful African women, and in that countdown, which was based only on looks, the Ethiopian women came out on top. I gave them credit for being the original black women because their history dated back hundreds of thousands of years, plus they've never really been conquered. Which means most of the Ethiopian women, they don't have an ounce of any other culture in them. So many of my commenters, they got happy, they rejoiced, and in the comments they put they're happy that the Habeshas won. At that time, I didn't even know what the term Habesha meant. All I know is when I researched the term, some pictures of the most gorgeous black women I've ever seen kept surfacing. So this episode right here is going to feature a lot of those pictures of those girls that helped me flip my lid. But once the humanistic, animalistic thirstiness started dying down, I really got a chance to do a little bit of research and find out where this term came from. So after this quick commercial break, I'm going to break down all of the meanings of the word Habeshas that I could find. Did you know that on Google you can search and single out which day would make your flight a lot cheaper? Find out tips like this and more immediately. Travel hacking has been around for forever for those in the know. Only recently has the internet revealed how some people are able to find the extremely cheap prices while everyone else is stuck with regular retail prices. Click the link below for an ebook that will put you in the loop too. From Italy back in the 1800s took control of Eritrea and then tried to take over Ethiopia. In the process, Eritrea became a part of Ethiopia. This caused a lot of beef between these two. As a matter of fact, 30 years and 200,000 deaths of beef from 1961 until 1991. Eritrea wanted out, so they fought a long war of independence against Ethiopia, and both sides were violently attacking each other on sight. The war came to an end in 1991 when, along with outside influences, probably who benefited the most from the war in the first place, Eritrea won. And on another note, Sally Struthers didn't help any side of this conflict. So a vote was held and Eritreans succeeded from Ethiopia. In April 1993, independence was finally achieved. Eritrea was again its own separate nation. But for the record, if you ever wanted to know why that area used to be so poor and broken down on those commercials, look up the Derg and the TPLF, because being black had nothing to do with it. So that was just my brief overview, and I'm sure people will see it differently, but that's what I gathered by looking it up. So, what does that have to do with the sexy Habesha women? Well, these countries are where the beautiful Habeshas reside. The people who are usually considered Habesha are from these two countries out of the 4 countries that make up the Horn of Africa. But it seems there are many origins of the term Habesha. The old Arabic word Habesha was created in reference to the dark-skinned people of the Horn of Africa. So I guess they was referring to people from Ethiopia, Eritrea, Djibouti, I know I pronounced that wrong, and Somalia. But today, from what I understand, Habesha is still a term currently used by many Eritreans and Ethiopians to identify themselves. It was also a term used by Sudanese people to refer to Eritreans who lived in the northern side of the Horn of Africa. And centuries ago, present Eritrea used to be called Habeshistan. Visitors to the area said there were different in lifestyle and looks between Nubians, which are Sudanese, and Habeshans, which were Eritreans. They said Nubians were nomads with dark black color, and the Habeshans were mostly pastoralists with the color of their face looking like a sunburn. The term Habesha came from abyss, which implies burned faces. Today, Habesha has become a term of pride and used to eliminate the distinction between different tribes, but also celebrate unity as people of the same region. The way it was turned around to mean a term of endearment reminds me of the N-word. But like the N-word, some Ethiopians and even some Eritreans are very offended by this term. It's the same old mind blank that happens with our people over here in the States. So for people who say I like to use the imaginary and totally fake race card, a simple Google search into most of our history always shows who started the problem. I mean, even the word Ethiopia means the black face in Greek. We are not the cause of these problems, and mentioning them does not in any credible way make us as bad as the people who started the problem. I digress. In many parts of Africa, visitors just referred everything around present Eritrea and beyond as Abyssinia or Habesha. Habesha is frequently used to refer to all Ethiopians and Eritreans by outsiders and usually refers more specifically to the Semitic-speaking people of those countries. So all the trigger fingers that are about to turn into Twitter fingers and you're ready to scold me for all the light-skinned women in these pictures, this is not, and I repeat, not a light-skinned, dark-skinned woman thing. Any skin shade arguments about Habeshas or any other black women from both sides of the argument is played out. If any shade of woman is in great shape, guess what? All straight men of all races will be attracted to them and happy to be with them. Case closed. Alright, so the furthest back I looked, the term was also used by the Turks as Habesh or Habeshistan to refer to the small territory taken from Ethiopia in 1557. But Habeshistan also included parts of Saudi Arabia, the capital of province, parts of Sudan, and a part of Yemen in the Middle East. The fight for control over these territories also caused many casualties and destruction of the cities. Again, if you were puzzled, as I was when I was younger, about why the kids on those Feed the African commercials were so bad off, it was hardly because of the lack of white leadership like the cleaner, more organized European countries had told us. On TV, they made it seem like black people in Africa just could not take care of themselves. That's honestly the propaganda they tried to force on us. Thank God for the internet and people who do real history, because history has been resurfacing all over. Everyone should know that the constant wars in these countries was always orchestrated by outside forces. The outside wannabe conquerors alone are the reason this region of Africa had been in shambles for so many decades. Alright, so nowadays some people tend to connect the term with meaning mixed, on the false assumption that all the people of the Horn of Africa are a product of African-Arab mixes. They say the continents are so close that a lot of mixing must have taken place. They say the mind-blowing look that Habesha women have today is the product of race mixing. Study shows that it's not. Although Italy and many others have tried it, Ethiopia has never been fully conquered. Ethiopia is a mix-free zone, which makes its neighboring countries' women less likely to be mixed as well. Alright, so for the record, dark skin and light skin, red or brown, it really doesn't matter when it comes to these black people. Africa is beautiful in all shades. And the women from both countries, well, all four countries, are sexy as hell. And I hope one day both sides can throw out all traces of things that separated them and that still separate them. I hope that in my lifetime, that both Eritrea and Ethiopia just become two states of the United States of Africa. I want y'all to be no different than the relationship between New York and New Jersey. And final thought about slurs. It really depends on who's using the N-word that bothers me. I don't want someone whose ancestors put me and every American black person in this N-word situation, economically and socially, to ever feel comfortable calling me that. They benefited then off of making us out to be less than, and those who are here today still benefit from our situation now and from what was created in the past. But for those who are fighting in this unjust system to live here in peace and prosperity in the US, I really don't mind a word. So for that reason, I hope you ladies don't mind me calling you my Habeshas. But if you do, I apologize. Alright, so what do you guys think? Tell me how you feel. Are you Habesha? Do you like the term? Are you an outsider who loves the Habesha women? Should we be able to call them Habeshas if we don't live there and haven't gone through what they've been through? Yo, let me know in the comments. And before you go, hit the subscribe button. So yo, don't let somebody else determine what a word means and then pin it on you. If you're okay with that word, make it mean whatever you want it to mean. Like a king, a passport king. Peace. Did you like this episode? Great. Remember to leave comments below. Subscribe and like and share it with your social media. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you want to make money online or just book a trip, go to www.passportkings.com and pick up our free book while you're there.